Hey everybody, it's Jason Creel and this is the Lawn Care Life. Today's video, I want to show you 7 weeds that I'm going to probably be battling all summer. The reason I know that's because it's the same weeds I battle every summer. Now I'm in Alabama, I'm dealing with warm season grasses. Some of these weeds you may be familiar with, some you may not. But I want to show you the weeds and I want to talk about them and tell you about my approach to control the weeds in this video. Today's video is sponsored by my friends at Graham Spray Equipment. If you're thinking about getting into the weed control and fertilization business, or you're already in it and you need a spray rig, contact Graham Spray Equipment in Douglasville, Georgia, or you can visit them online, grahamse.com. Okay, so the first weed I want to show you today is this one. This is kyllinga. Now, the one I'm most familiar with, or I think that we have the most in my area, what I've been told is false green kyllinga. I don't know if that's what this one is. I'm assuming it is, but you can see it really takes over in areas. It likes areas that are wet. I've seen it oftentimes if you got a situation where you have a drain coming off a house, or like the air conditioner's dripping water, it will be just completely covered. Or if you got a low spot in the yard that holds water, it will be covered with kyllinga. Now, as far as your control options for kyllinga, the dismiss products do good at like burning it down. So regular dismiss NXT, Blindside has sulfitrazone in it, which is the active ingredient in dismiss. So those are some products that can give you a quick burn down. You got to be a little careful with those when it starts getting hot weather. And you may have to use multiple applications to start getting some real control. But with one application of any of those products, you should see some significant results. Now, some of the sedge products, kyllinga being a sedge, are also going to have an effect. Not so much in my experience with Pro Sedge or Sedge Hammer, but Certainty can have some results. And oftentimes I mix products together. So I might have Celsius and Certainty, that works great. Solero is another product that a sedge product that can work on nutsedge but also on kyllinga. So those are a few options. I'm sure there's some I'm leaving out, but those are some of the products I use when I'm trying to control kyllinga in the lawn. All right, another weed I deal with all summer is called Spurge. Now, Spurge is a little low-lying broadleaf weed, and it can be a little bit tough to control. So what I do oftentimes on my lawns, I'm doing it now, is I'm spraying a combination of metsulfuron, which is under the product name Manor, and change up at very low rates. So the metsulfuron at 1/4 ounce per acre, change up at 12 ounces per acre. And that is a relatively inexpensive combination of products when you're using it at those rates. And it will wipe out a lot of broadleaf weeds. Now, it's not gonna do anything to the kyllinga, okay? Virtually nothing. But stuff like Spurge and some of the other weeds, the broadleaf weeds, it's gonna really get those. Now, this is not one that we're gonna talk about, but stuff like oxalis or the yellow wood sorrel, you know, it's great on weeds like that. So that's an inexpensive product you can use that would just clean up lots of broadleaf weeds. The third one I want to mention today is crabgrass. You can see all this small crabgrass. Now, I'm filming this in May. This will get bigger and uglier as the year goes on if nothing is done about it. So crabgrass, and we've done videos on this, it's best controlled by using a pre-emergent herbicide early in the year before the crabgrass germinates. For me here in Alabama, the germination typically happens in March or maybe even late February, depending on the temperature. But if I can get my pre-emergent out in January or February, again, I know for you guys up north that's not a realistic time frame buried in snow, but for us, January, February is a great time to put out the product we use is prodiamine, and it will prevent virtually all crabgrass, so you won't have this problem. Now, from a post-emergent standpoint, we use products that have quinclorac in it for post-emergent crabgrass control. So products like Drive Accelerate, products like Solitaire, products like Q-Ball, and I'll put some links in the description of some of these products. There's some other grassy weed products like Celsius that can have some results on there, but typically for the post-emergent control, we're going to use the quinclorac products. Next one I want to show you is annual foxtail. This one has it's a grassy weed, but it has that red in the center. Now, you can use the quinclorac products on Foxtail. I have found when I sprayed this with Celsius and Certainty combination, which is 2 products I combine a lot, it got outstanding results. Now, hopefully, if you put out your prodiamine before early in the year, hopefully it's going to prevent a lot of foxtail. But I've had certain yards I take care of, and it seemed like they got foxtail every single year in the same spot. So sometimes you're going to get some breakthrough on these weeds. But again, this foxtail is easy to identify with the real deep red color in the heart of the plant. So Celsius and Certainty combination would be my go-to choice on foxtail. I remember trying that last year and got really good results. The next summer weed I want to talk to you about, I'm calling these summer weeds, not because they necessarily start seeing them in the summer, but it's ones that seem like I'm battling all summer long. It's called Virginia Buttonweed. It looks like a low-growing vine. It'll eventually have some white flowers on it. Terrible weed. I've heard that you can spray it with Roundup, it still won't die. Okay, so there are some pretty good control options. And when I talk about these control options, you'll notice sometimes I mention the same products. I mean, I don't carry 46 products on my truck at one time, okay? I typically have something in my big gram spray rig on the back of my truck, and then I'll have some other smaller handheld tanks, like 2-gallon tanks, or maybe backpack sprayers that have some options to control a lot of the weeds I'm seeing, the tough weeds I'm around spot treating. So I might have the Celsius and Certainty combination in one of those. I might have change up with Sedge in one of those, which is going to be a little cheaper combo, but the Sedge is not as good on kyllinga as Certainty is. You know, maybe I've got a Dismiss product like Blindside or Dismiss NXT in another one that would be kind of a good option if I'm seeing a lot of kyllinga. So, you know, stuff like that. So I can't just necessarily have every product on my truck at every given time. Now I do have quite a few because I work by myself and I like trying stuff out. So like I'll keep Solitaire on there for baby crabgrass, or it's also a good product for wild violet. Okay, so that's a quinclorac product. But the Virginia Buttonweed, you know, the Celsius Certainty combo is kind of like if you want one combination that can get a lot of weeds in your warm season grasses, to me that's kind of the go-to. Not the cheapest combination, but it will get broadleaf weeds, sedges, grassy weeds. I mean, it's just very versatile, and you can use it on Bermuda, zoysia, centipede, St. Augustine. Also does pretty good on this, but I like Blindside, probably the best thing I know of for Virginia Buttonweed. You'll make it think that it might be dying, but trust me, it's most likely not dying. It'll probably come back. So Change Up is a cheaper product, and it also gives you some pretty good results. So even when I'm using that combination of 12 ounces of Change Up and a 1/4 ounce of metsulfuron per acre, again, very low rates, it does pretty good on Virginia Buttonweed. But very tough weed to control, and some weeds just unfortunately have a lot of it, which is not good. The next one I want to talk about is Nutsedge. You can see this is a low area of the yard, and it gets this Nutsedge in it. Now Nutsedge typically grows not as big of a clump as the kyllinga, and there's purple Nutsedge, yellow Nutsedge. Yellow typically grows taller and a little lighter colored leaf. The purple lays a little flatter, darker colored leaf. And sometimes that's important to know because I also say that the yellow has a little finer leaf blade on it, like the point seems a little finer. So I believe this is yellow right here, but the purple, a little duller blade. So the purple can be a little tougher to control. Now if you want a product just to control your Nutsedge, something like Sedge or Sedge Hammer, those are cheap products that can do a pretty good job. Now it's going to be very, very difficult to kill it, but they will suppress it. Certainty's good. Solero, those are products that help with your Nutsedge. Now if you just want to burn it down like the yellow Nutsedge, then you can go with the Dismiss products like Blindside or like regular Dismiss, and they can have some results, particularly on the yellow Nutsedge and the kyllinga. Just burn them down. Like I said, not quite as good on the purple Nutsedge, but very hard to control. One tip you can do is control your irrigation. So if you're seeing a lot of this, talked to somebody about this yesterday, Nutsedge, kyllinga, they love water. And so if you're watering your lawn, which is a good thing, but we recommend just maybe watering it once a week and soaking it really good for maybe 30 minutes per zone versus 3, 4, 5 times a week like some homeowners do. because that's just going to really make it even more difficult to control the nutsedge in your lawn. Chickens want to say hello this morning. I got one more weed. Final weed I want to talk to you about. I can't show you, unfortunately. Well, actually, I'm happy that I can't show it to you. I hadn't showed up in the lawn yet. It's called Doveweed, and it's one of the weeds that has caused me to change my program a little bit. There's some others you'll see in the summer, less Bediza, chamber bitter, things like that. But let's talk about Doveweed. Doveweed started to become more common in our area, and so this year I started putting out Spectacle Flow in May and trying to put that out right before the doveweeds germinate, so hopefully going to get ahead of some of the doveweed that way. As a post-emergent, doveweed, it likes wet areas, it mats up, can really take over a yard, and I'm going to show you a picture of it in case you're wondering what I'm talking about. Here's doveweed. So there's some control options for doveweed from a post-emergent. Oftentimes it's going to take you multiple applications. Celsius can work, Blindside can work. I've heard that Spurge is a product that I use on it, and again, probably multiple applications to really show some effectiveness on the doveweed. And hopefully, as you get rid of some of it this year, there's going to be less doveweed to reseed for the following year. And as you begin working on it year over year, that you'll have less and less come back from the previous year's population. So tough weed to control. I was thinking another weed you might see a lot in the summertime is goosegrass. I think the Dismiss NXT is a good product for goosegrass. And I know I haven't covered all summer weeds, but these seem to be the ones. I walk around in them early in the year and you see poa, see yellow wood sorrel. As it gets into summer, it's nutsedge, it's Virginia buntweed, it's spurge, it's stuff like that I'm dealing with. That's why I love fall and winter, because there's not that many weeds to deal with. It's a great time of the year for us lawn care professionals. Appreciate you watching the video. I'm Jason Creel. If you're thinking about getting into weed control and fertilization business, there's a lot of resources available for you at lawncarelife.com. Programs, pricing charts, video courses, things like that. You can go check that out when you get done, or check out the suggested videos popping up for you now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.